Well, we all have made some wrong turns in life, and some of us have gone down the wrong road. But this time, we did the right road. We made the right turn because we turned in and tuned in to Jim Hinckley's America and that program, Car Talk on the Main Street of America. It starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of Car Talk from the Main Street of America. A little noisy here this morning. Let's see if I can find a quieter corner here in just a second. I am at the Oatman Hotel in Oatman, Arizona, built by 1903. I was up here signing books at two different stores, Fast Fanny's and Jackass Junction. That tells you a great deal, doesn't it? Route 66 up to Oatman from the Sacramento Valley, west of Kingman, Arizona. It's quite a drive. In my humble opinion, it's probably the most scenic section there is of this storied highway. It absolutely breathtaking. A one-eyed blind man would have trouble taking a photograph out here. Oatman itself dates to about 1902, 1903. The hotel is one of the oldest buildings in town. This was the scene of the last major gold rush in the state of Arizona. And this and Gold Road, which is now a total ghost town, were quite the boom towns. And they've turned into quite a tourism mecca, if you will. But I digress. We're talking about cars here. And of course, this is Route 66 right outside the window. And it was also the National Old Trails Road, which was the predecessor to Route 66. And since we're talking cars, here's a little bit of history for you. In 1914, the Desert Classic, the last of the Desert Classic automobile races that were dubbed the Cactus Derby, they took place along the National Old Trails Road from Los Angeles to Phoenix and would have went right down this street, and they would have climbed over the Black Mountains, the grades there. They would have followed the old road that was replaced in 1921 that became Route 66 in 1926. It was in use to 1952. That race featured some of the big boys of the era, people like Louis Chevrolet and Barney Oldfield. And the National Old Trails Road was as popular as Route 66 for travelers and tourists looking to experience the desert Southwest, the scenery, the wonders. And one of those fellas was Edsel Ford. Most people, when they think of Edsel, of course, they think of Buick sucking a lemon, but there was actually a fella named Edsel. It was Henry Ford's son. In the summer of July, actually, of 1915, he and his college buddies headed for the Panama Pacific Exposition in California. They joined about more than 20,000 people on the road to that event, and they passed right down this street, July 16, 1915. And even though Oatman's just a little above the Colorado River Valley, this area records some of the hottest temperatures of summer. And so it's not surprising that in his journal for July 16, 1915, he noted that it was oppressively hot when he stayed in Needles, California, down on the river. Temperatures there often exceed 120 degrees in the summertime. Quite uncomfortable, quite unpleasant. For me personally, and since we are asking for your car stories, we're asking you to share your stories about your favorite cars, the cars that got away, cars you regret selling, the worst car you ever owned, things of that nature. Share a little of my personal story. We moved out here on Oatman Road, the old alignment of Route 66 below the Black Mountains in the summer of 1966. And we learned to drive out here. I did. We all, us kids, by the time we were 14, 15, we were driving the water trucks. We had to haul water. And my first real experience, my pa was one for teaching people to swim by tossing them in the river. Well, same with driving. We were hauling hay up out of Fort Mojave on the Colorado River in an old Studebaker flatbed. We lost the water pump just outside of Oatman, Arizona. And, well, we walked into town. We called a fellow named Bud Gist. He was the only fellow in town with a phone. And he come and fetched us. Went in town. We went to the house there. We got my dad's '53 Chevy truck. And then we went to Kingman and got a water pump, put it in Studebaker. And I was shy of getting a driver's license. And my dad jumped in the '53 Chevy and said, "I'll see you at home." So it was up to me to pilot a Studebaker truck over these mountains and down Sitgreaves Pass in a truck loaded with hay. It's quite the experience, but that's the way my pa taught everything. Those are the kind of stories we'd sure like to hear from you here on Car Talk from the Main Street of America. We'd love to hear your stories about driving experiences with favorite cars, favorite trucks, and vehicles that got away from you and vehicles you miss. Car Talk from the Main Street of America is about road trips. It's about automobiles. It's about you. So we'd sure like to hear what you've got to talk about with cars. And, you know, if you've got an automotive event or festival or something like that, please let me know. Let's get that shared up here on Car Talk from the Main Street of America. Let's inspire some road trips while we're at it. Speaking of road trips, I'd sure like to give a plug to one of our sponsors here this morning is Tucumcari, New Mexico. Check out their website at visittucumcarinm.com. You know, Tucumcari may be known for its neon-lit time capsules like the Blue Swallow Motel and the beautiful restored 1959 Motel Safari, or David Brenner's delightful 1964 time capsule that is the Roadrunner Lodge. But I'll tell you, Tucumcari is much, much more than that. You owe it to yourself to pay them a visit. Next time you're on a Route 66 Odyssey or headed up to Wichita on Highway 54. I'll have to tell you about my truck driving experiences on running up to Wichita sometime, but that's a story for another day. But here in Oatman, Arizona, like you can hear, it's a little busy, and the Oatman Hotel is it's the oldest and tallest adobe structure in Mojave County. Oatman is a mining boomtown that is now a tourist mecca, and there are very, very few original buildings. So it's more of a movie set, a caricature. But it's a lot of fun. The Burros have free reign here, and they'll wander in and out of the stores and the streets. And every time I come up here, it gives me a little certain peace of mind knowing that not all the asses are in Washington. It's a story for another day, too. But if you get a chance, Oatman, pay them a visit. Take that drive up Sitgreaves Pass on the pre-1952 alignment of Route 66. That's breathtakingly beautiful. A one-eyed blind man's not going to take a bad photograph out here. And it's pretty spectacular. When you drop on the west side of the pass, kind of keep an eye out, of course, for traffic and for burros in the street. But also look to your left as you're coming down the pass, and you can see the original National Old Trails Road that was bypassed in 1921 with the road that you're currently on. This is not a road or a drive for the faint of heart. You'll find the steepest grades and the sharpest curves anywhere on Route 66 through these mountain passes. But you'll also notice that it's just spectacular. The views at every turn become more and more amazing. Oatman is just the frosting on the cake, if you will. So, with that said, we're going to give a shout out, see what Stan's up to this morning. Stan, how are you doing today?
Well, Well, James, that's kind of a loaded question because sometimes I just have to admit that I'm really kind of up to no good right now, but I try and correct that condition as soon as I can. And every day I say, how can I create some value for somebody today? And so I'm going to keep trying to do that today. I know you do that every day, so maybe we could do it together. All right?
Well, it's like the old, scripture talks about choose this day whom you're going to serve.
That's right.
And every day we start off trying to figure out what we can do to make things better for other people.
That's right. How can we serve somebody today? And one of the things that we try and do, particularly at What It Takes Radio, which of course we're cooperating with the Hinckley empire in terms of our work. The thing is, we want to try and help people find their audience. Everybody has an audience out there, not a prospect, not a suspect, not a potential customer. All of those are things we hope to get people to be. But first of all, we have to discuss who's the audience we want to reach and how can we best do that. So we'll talk about that too. But hey, you mentioned one time the story of those burros. That's always fascinated me. But you said one time, I remember we had a conversation, and you said that there is some very specific burros that people even name or befriend. Do you have a story about a friendly burro?
Well, it's the dangest thing. If this doesn't put your ego in check, the honorary mayor in Little Oatman is Walter, and he was adopted by a family there. He was kind of an orphan, and they treat him like a dog. And he comes in the house in the morning, sits on the couch, watches TV. But when I was up doing a book signing at Jackass Junction, I had a little sit down with Walter, a little quick video. And by the time I had driven home, that video had been seen several thousand times. And it turns out that Walter has more than 300,000 followers on Facebook. And if that doesn't put your ego in check, that this ass is more popular than I am.
Well, do you think we could get him on the program sometime?
He doesn't have much to say, but he's probably one of the most honest politicians I've met. He's an ass, and he admits it, and he seems to revel in it.
And proud of it. Well, that we have. You said he actually has a Facebook?
Yeah, they've got a Facebook page for Walter. They also sell Walter souvenirs and T-shirts, and he has a book out, a series of children's books about Walter, and he autographs them by putting his foot on an ink pad and stepping on the books.
Well, see, I didn't know all that. You told me a little bit about him, but I didn't know he was world famous. My goodness.
Yes, people come from all over to have their picture taken with Walter and his colorful hats and.
Oh, my goodness. See, again, you learn more here by accident than most places by design. Well, Jim, where are some of the things that we're going to be going now? We're into kind of the holiday season here in North America and finishing up the year. What are some of the things that are going to be coming up on the program that we can look forward to?
We kind of probably if it gets cold and rainy, we'll move back to a little bit more of our deeper history sections. But we're going to be hanging out. Got a coffee shop to go down and visit and hang out with the Pharaohs a little bit, local car club. Probably doing that down at Victoria's Sugar Shack here in the next week or two. I received a message yesterday, and I've got to finalize it. I might be having a book signing, and we would be doing a program from Auto Books, Aero Books in Burbank, California, one of the oldest continuously operated automotive bookstores in the United States.
Wow, that's great.
These little teasers we've got.
Well, see, what we want to do also is not only serve you as a part of our audience. We have a favor we would ask us, please recommend us to others. We would be grateful if you do that. And as we said, in effect, if you have something in your group or your organization that you would like us to promote, give a little airtime and a good time to, we want to do that. We want to be your program as well as our program, because we have a number of things in common, and that is, first of all, just the love of the American story and about the roads that made it great, and the wonderful history of the automobile, the thing that obviously changes everything. So if you're one of those people who are trying to make something go, or you have an organization, please allow us the privilege of telling your story. By the way, many of you are organized in various communities, and I've got about a 50-year career in radio and television, and if you would like me to perhaps cut a radio commercial for your business, I've done thousands of them, and we would be more than happy for us to put together a little program that might be helpful for you on your local radio station or in the place where you advertise for your Route 66, your automobile, your American history business. We'd like to do that. Is that okay, Jim? Can we do that?
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan. The idea, Stan, is always about, it's not a Jim show, a Stan show. It's about cooperative partnerships.
Right.
You know, helping each other out here.
That's exactly what we want it to be. We want this to be a program that includes you, that you actually can use for your benefit, for your business, for your organization. We gather around things that we believe are important, not only to our business, to our lives, and to the communities we serve. And if that brings you into our little circle of influence and brings us into your circle of influence, that's really where things happen. I did a radio program the other day after this political election. I said, you know, part of the problem is that we think that the solution to all of our problems is political. And that's an illusion.
It is.
It is an illusion. The solution to our problems is that people of communities care for one another and fix the problems. That's how things get done.
The whole program premise here is sharing America's story, and America's story is communities and communities, people pulling together, people coming together with ideas, sharing ideas, and building. And that was the theme of my presentation at the Miles of Possibility Conference in Pontiac, was the power of cooperative partnerships within the community.
That's what we want to do. So reach out to us, and again, we hang out at Jim's place. So Jim, tell him where the hangout is, okay?
You bet. Best place to find this is JimHinkley'sAmerica.com. I've got recommended places to eat and sleep. We test the pillows, and we taste the enchiladas. We've got links to recommended podcasts. We've got links to recommended blogs. Just about anything you need to inspire and plan a road trip.
That's what we do. And I'll speak for Jim. Not only is that what we do, but he does it well. He does it very well. In fact, I think he's probably one of the best. And I can say that because he's too modest to do that. You know, he's kind of an aw shucks guy. Yeah. All right. Hey, next week, what's on the agenda for next week? Do you know yet?
Well, let's see. If everything goes as planned, which is unusual in these times lately, but we're supposed to go out to Victoria's Sugar Shack and hang out with the Pharaohs this week.
Right. Okay. We'll see what comes out of that program, right?
Yes.
All right. Hey, best and blessings. Now you make sure you drive safely, and we'll see you all around next week. All the best. Drive safely. Be careful. Take care of one another. You know, blessings on you, and bye for now.
Say hello to a new friend on an old road. take a 2-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.